kind of fool do you take me for? Your Kitt? Your Kitt? Your Kitt? I'm Kitt! Are there any other Kitts I should know about? Yeah. Good afternoon, jank enthusiasts. I'm MBT, and this is 10-Minute Testing. Yes, we could twiddle our thumbs for another few weeks. Perhaps you'd enjoy a new build of Yummy Mitsurugi, or what about branded Dracotail with another terrible fusion splash shoved in? But instead, we're just gonna dive headfirst into the set releasing a month from now. We'll begin with one of the most familiar archetypes contained therein, TRI-BRIGADE. So here's the list. As always, I'll give you a background about the archetype, a little bit of a discussion about what I hope the deck can do, and of course, the card by card. But first, this video is sponsored by Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro Deck. Despite what some Yu-Gi-Tubers who shall not be named would have you believe, the TCG is alive and well. And if you're looking to start your journey into paper, there's no better place to begin than Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro Deck. With up-to-the-minute reporting on every major tournament worldwide, searchable and interactable pie charts and deck lists, and all the bells and whistles you've come to expect from one of the best draft and collection management sites on the net, Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro Deck is the place to be. Check it out today at www.ygoprodeck.com. Now back to the video. With that, let's tinker with TRI-BRIGADE. TRI-BRIGADE is a deck full of furries who all build toward the same goal, banishing monsters from the graveyard to use as link material. The best breed, a couple of times during their tenure at top tables, the deck fell off not at the hands of a ban list, but by fading into obscurity courtesy of power creep. Despite a smattering of new support here and there and a consistent furry fanbase, a comically low ceiling has kept them rogue status for the years since their original run. Until now, 3 new cards over the last few sets have set the stage for a TRI-BRIGADE return to form: Hammer, Mouser, and Kitt. Again. Mouser and Hammer are hole fillers, smoothing out combos or enabling plays through specific points of interaction, but Kitt finally accomplishes something the deck needs. This monster's another great send to graveyard and lets you loop Fallen of Albaz and a small branded package into your combos. This helps you diversify your end boards with Fallen and the Virtuous, break boards with Mirror Jade, or just draw non-engine with Albion. Is the world once again ready for the mid-range menace? Hard to say. And harder if you're me and you just saw Shureg. So with that, let's get into the card by card. First up, our new card, Pogchamp, TRI-BRIGADE Spriggan's Kitt. If you control TRI-BRIGADE or a Spriggan's monster other than herself, she can be special from the hand, and if sent to the graveyard, you can special summon one of the following monsters from your graveyard except herself: a TRI-BRIGADE monster, a Spriggan's, a Fallen of Albaz, or a monster that mentions it. After that, we've got 3 copies of Fractal, 3 copies of Little Kitt, 3 copies of Nerval, 2 Keras, 1 TRI-BRIGADE McCourier, who will be banished over the course of the combo, 1 Fallen of Albaz, and 1 Albion the Shrouded Dragon. To enable these, we've got 3 copies of the Fallen and the Virtuous. We've got 1 copy of TRI-BRIGADE Hammer, which is like a whack-ass Revolt, and 3 copies of Fire Formation Tanky. Finally, we have the non-whack-ass Revolt. For non-engine, we are on 3 Droll and Lockbird, which just seems like he's here to stay this meta, 3 Ash Blossom and Joy Spring, 3 Mulcharmy Fubulos, 2 Nibiru the Primal Being, triple Forbidden Droplet, and 1 Called by the Grave. In the extra, we've got Almirage, Yummy Snatchy, who is a Link 1 beast that points down. Ancient Warrior's Oath Double Dragon Lords, TRI-BRIGADE Fairjeet the Baron Blossom, Bearbroom the Rampart Ranger, TRI-BRIGADE Arms Mouser, who uses 2 Beast Warrior Wing Beast monsters, and if Link summoned, can send 2 TRI-BRIGADE cards with different names from your deck and extra deck to the graveyard except Arms Mouser, and you can special summon from the extra deck for the rest of the turn except for Tri-types. If sent to the graveyard, you can target a face-up monster on the field, change it to face-down defense position. We are on 1 Rugal, triple Shureg, and 1 Bussy Phallus. For our Albaz Suite, we're on an Albion, Double Dragon that devours the Dogma, and a Mirror Jade. In the side, we've got a Retaliating Lightning Storm, evenly matched Infinite Impermanence, and GAMCL. So with that, let's jump into some games. Our first match is up against Mermail, and what a perfect presentation for mid-range than playing against the Womboist combo in the format. Our hand is exceptionally good. We're going to begin with a copy of Kitt. It's going to be met with a Perulia into an Ash Blossom, so we do have to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Today. We'll go for Spriggan's Kitt, then link him off for a copy of Mouser. We'll trigger Kitt and Mouser and Kitt in sequence as our opponent goes for Infinite Impermanence, targeting the Mouser. This is a pretty devastating imperm, but we can play through it here. We're going to be able to bring back the Kitt and trigger the effect of the Nerval we send here to grab a copy of Fractal Activation. And now that we have enough monsters in graveyard, we can trigger the effect of the Kitt to banish 4 and summon to our side of the field a Shureg. That's going to go to the yard for a Bearbroom, triggering its effect and grabbing us a copy of McCourier into Bearbroom, sending that to the yard to bring back a copy of Nerval. From here, we can Nerval for 2 because we haven't activated its on-field yet for DDL, triggering the effect of the McCourier and getting us access to Albion. Albion here can send Fallen of Albaz to draw a card, ooh, and Nibiru into a Rugal, and we might as well shuffle it back so we have access to Revolt. We'll set 2 and pass back to our opponent, who will draw for turn another Imperm. That's going to contest the DDL, but that's not too big of a deal because as they normal summon the Inept Abyss, we can go for the Fallen of the Virtuous, sending the Dragon that devours the Dogma in order to eat eat it. They will go Abystius into Shadow Squad, triggering both, grabbing themselves a copy of Abyss Shrine, and summoning another Neptibus from deck. That is perfect fodder for our other Revolt. Here we can summon back not only 2 monsters, but our Link 2 Mouser to go into a Shureg, trigger the effect of the Shureg and the Mouser contesting their normal summon, and the Kitt and the Nerval in order to get material for next turn. Hilariously, we can trigger the Spriggan's Kitt here to bring back this copy of Fallen of Albaz, and could even fusion summon if we didn't just win the game on the spot. So that's how the deck performs on the play, but what does it do on the draw? Well, our opponent for game 2 is on Radiant Typhoon, a deck that's about to become extremely scary. In the draw phase, our opponent's going to begin with a copy of Vision, then they'll trigger the effect of the Corrosia, summon it from their hand into an Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. This is about as good as it gets for Ash, so I'm happy about it. As they proceed to main phase, they'll go for Eldam. Eldam effect is going to grab them a copy of Swen into the Link 2, the Sea Spirit. That'll snag an MST into the Swen activation, which grabs them a Chant. From here, they can trigger the effect of the Chant in order to grab themselves a copy of their last remaining 3. The Sea Spirit will set a mandate before they go for the Megala, which means when they go for Elation, they can trigger the Megala in a new sequence in order to summon a copy of the Vibrant Vortex. They'll go for Totem Bird, set an MST, and pass turn. We'll draw for turn. We're going to begin in standby with the Fallen of the Virtuous. That fiends out the Totem Bird into a Forbidden Droplet, into the Mandate trigger, into the MST, into the Mandate trigger again in order to negate the Forbidden Droplet, which means that we are on the losing end of this interaction, but have exhausted most of their points of interaction. At resolution, they can trigger the effect of the Megala and the effect of the Phonics in Grip in order to summon to their side of the field another copy of Corrosia, which will activate and grab them both an MST and follow-up. Okay, we'll begin with a copy of Nerval. That's going to go into an Almirage, Nerval trigger in order to grab a Kairos. We can Kairos here in order to pitch them a Courier that fiends out the Vibrant Vortex, but means that we can set the Revolt and then at end step grab another copy of the Fallen of the Virtuous, which we can use to destroy this copy of Phonics. We will do so, and our opponent will draw for turn. They'll MST in draw. We'll activate Revolt in order to summon back 1, 2 total into Mouser into the effects of our Nerval in Graveyard. We will grab a TRI-BRIGADE Spriggan's Kitt, send 2, one of which is the Bussy Phallus, which means in a new chain we can trigger it and the Kitt to summon back a Nerval and send a copy of Farigite. We have drawn an Ash Blossom, which is non-engine, but they already have a winning board, so it doesn't really matter. They will push our monster backwards, then go for their own Fallen of the Virtuous on our Almirage, triggering the effect of the Phonics, and unfortunately we will just have to scoop it up there. So it's time for game 3, and you know what that means, a best of 3 versus meta. Our opponent's on what else but Vanquished Soul Canine. See, it doesn't have to be yummy every time. We're going second, but thankfully we've opened one of the most interesting cards in the history of Yu-Gi-Oh! Our opponent goes for Dr. Madlove into start. Whoa, more like stop. Droll and Lockbird comes down, they'll make Rock of the Vanquisher, add that card back to hand, then stake your soul, revealing the Madlove in order to summon a Borgar, which will add back to hand at end phase. So I know they're going to, when I enter the main phase, summon out the Madlove, grab the trap, cycle it back for the Borgar, and then try to draw into non-engine. I figure I can force that out by going for Mirror Jade off of a normal summoned Albaz, but they just let it happen, at which point I realize what's about to happen. We're going through our line here, bringing out Kitt, and now that we have enough monsters in the graveyard, they will Foolos. We do have a called by, but they have a second Foolos, so we have to make a decision about how many draws we're going to give them. We just have to avoid pretty much exactly Izuna or Holisu, and thankfully it looks like they are drawing hand traps. We'll go Kairos here for 3 in order to summon out a copy of the Silver Sheller, and I believe that's lethal while only committing a couple of summons into that Fua. Okay, weird game 1. So it's time for game 2, and God, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is so good. Look at these grips. All right, our opponent's going first. They're going to begin with a copy of Pot of Prosperity, banishing 3 and finding off the top. A case for Canine you shouldn't have. And you won't. Down comes Droll and Lockbird into a pass. Okay, I guess they kept in the Foolos. We'll go for Fractal here in order to send a copy of Kitt, trigger the effect of the Kitt in order to send a copy of Kitt, and then use the effect of the Kitt in order to summon back Kitt. From here, we can activate Kitt. Our opponent's going to go for Foolos. We don't have a called by this time, so we will give them a draw off the Snatchy. We'll go to Mouser. They will draw another card as we go Mouser effect in order to send 2, and use the effect of both the Farigite and the Nerval in order to get exactly what we need. We'll go for a Tanky here in order to grab a Fractal. Then we can try Brigade Hammer in order to add a Revolt to Grip. We will set that, normal summon the Fractal, and go for 4 here in order to summon Shureg. Finally, we will go for TRI-BRIGADE Spriggan's Kitt, and this should be lethal. Thankfully, they have not drawn any of their quick summons. What an awesome game. Look at the 3 Drolls in Grip. Balatro. So we're back with the deck, and wow, this thing has improved. Let's do the pros and cons. First, the pros. 1, the new Kitt is awesome. It gives the deck an extender that allows them to play through pretty much everything, adds the ability to Branded Splash for a higher ceiling, and gives you an excellent send. Mouser allows for splashes like Yummy, but in Pure, she's just another way to dump names. Hammer is a bonus spell trap that functions as a searcher for Revolt or a pseudo Revolt as a quick play in a pinch too. All good stuff. 2, the deck has a huge amount of room for non-engine or engine splashes. You can either go with 18 hand traps or play breakers and hand traps as a combo, as Fallen of the Virtuous is both consistency and a breaker. And 3, Yummy Snatchy is so important for this strategy. It's a generic link 1 you can link Tri-Brigade Kitt off into now, so you could access more plays if she's your normal and is negated just by linking her off. And the cons. 1, Mouser funnels a lot of resources into it from weaker hands, so it resolving is usually essential. A well-timed Ash or Imperm can have a notable impact on the amount of engine you can access. 2, Fualos is a huge issue. You now want to go through a few pieces before accessing Sure Egg, and an early Fua into a weaker hand means you're handing them 2 draws minimum during your setup. And 3, Shifter is just a complete shutdown for most of your interactions unless you can hard draw Revolt. Overall, the deck looks better than it ever has before, but a ban list will matter much more for this deck's playability than anything else. I should mention that because Mouser is incredibly splashable, in the meantime we'll see how Tri-Brigade Yummy fares. So that's that. Thanks so much for watching. These videos are made possible by, and occasionally suggested by, my patrons, some of whom have handed me a lump sum in order to be mentioned at the end of this video. Those people are Absolutely Fran, Elena Tincher, Allison Elliott, Ally, APK Pearly Tier 0, Brett Henry, Broski TCG, Cap, Cool Name, Damon O'Neill, Dark Rebel XYZ, DJ Elefante, El Gravo, Emiliano Deverio, NB Adams, Fabrizio Petroli, Galactic Joey, Hergalicious, Jackie Z, James Place, JP, Cole Offline, Legal Rights, Lucas Rosas, Luis Hernandez, Master Key 090, Matthew M. Derezo, MBT Hablando en Español, MBT Play Medolce, Mike Carlotti, N54 Lionheart, Nacho, Pombo, Pyramid Artisan Field Cloths, TCG Accessories, Rancer My Thing, Rohan Doge, Rose Lapine, Serpentax, Shifter.mp8, Sly Ninja 43, Troy Says By Erasure Is Gay, Who's Nick, Yuki Kazami, and Zircon Sun. Couldn't have done it without you.